Hey, what's up, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning into the God is My Superpower podcast, where we bridge the gap between faith and culture. I am your host, Latrice. Today, I have some special guests with me, and we are going to talk about some exciting things that's been going on and, on the Shade Room and on Netflix, everything. So I'm going to have the conversation today regarding Malcolm and Marie, B. Simone, Lori Harvey versus Boosie. And so I have some special guests. They're going to help add to the conversation with me today. So before we get started, I want to introduce them. Well, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to go ahead and just hop right into the conversation today. So Melanie, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, well, hi everybody. My name is Melanie. I am a certified life coach and the founder and CEO of Godly and Gracious LLC, which is a community and a faith-based apparel brand where we encourage women to keep it godly and gracious and to stay pretty.
Yeah, so Tomo.
Hey everybody, I'm Tomo, one-third member of the Next Level Convos podcast. Uh, just your ordinary guy who talk trash every now and then on Twitter.
All right, B.
What's going on? This is Brian Bailey, better known as Low Daddy Raps, aka the owner and founder of First Impressions. I also do podcast startups. You may heard of Vulture Podcast. I put that joint together. Just all around, just the realest to ever do it. So whatever you need to know, I tell you, and I'll be honest about it. That's me.
Okay, Jay.
Hi, my name is Jackell, and I'm the founder of She Is Me, a woman empowerment group where we help women overcome, achieve, and thrive through life's adversities.
Yes, come on, Black business owners and podcasters. We better do this out here. So I want to get in the conversation first with Malcolm and Marie, because I feel like it's a lot to talk about. And I think we need to start with that, because that is one of I've been seeing that all over my timeline, whether it's been on Facebook, whether it's been on Instagram. I've already been seeing people do reviews on YouTube regarding it. And I just really think that movie, that film, it's just really like a hot topic and one to really have a great conversation around. So I want to start you guys off with just asking y'all first, plain and simple, what is y'all overall view of Malcolm and Marie? Like, did you like it? Was it something that you would come back and watch again? Like, what were your thoughts regarding that movie? So anybody can start.
I was gonna say, I might let the lady start with this one. I ain't gonna pull a Malcolm.
Okay, I'll go. So, okay, the aesthetics of the movie to me was better than the movie itself. If I'm just being totally honest, I love the black and white. I love the close-ups, the music choices. But it was just very, very triggering. I will say that I could not just watch it all the way through because it just brought up some very painful, somewhat recent emotions and memories. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I can to a certain degree relate. Never been a drug addict or anything like that, but it just brought up some, like I said, just some painful memories of how it felt to really, really put your all into somebody, to love somebody to their core, only to feel like what you do is just never enough. So it's just a general feeling.
So who wants to hop in next?
I'll go. For me, it was kind of hard to watch at first, like the bickering, the back and forth. It was very toxic, but that was the overall layer of the film. And I think the writer did a great job bringing it all together and just giving people a real life example of what a toxic relationship looks like. Even like the setting and like, how they're circling around the kitchen table or back and forth. And that's what it feels like to be in a toxic relationship, the confusion, the back and forth. So I think it was a great example of what a toxic relationship looks like. Although it could have been kind of triggering, I think the writer did an excellent job with what he was trying to do.
I agree. Tom O'Brien?
I think it was a great film. I just don't like the cashing in on the Black traumas type of thing. So I'm not really for it. I really couldn't do a part 2 because it was so draining. But it was overall, I think it was put together well. It looked good, and the actors did a great job. I'm just not really big on like broadcasting the Black trauma. We already got to deal with it enough, and just to put it in the movie, cashing on it, and have us feel those emotions again to take us back to those spaces, I'm not really for all of that.
Altogether, I thought the film was great. What was funny was how everyone was saying that their relationship seemed toxic. And to me, the first time I watched it, I was like, I don't think it's that toxic. This is the first time I ever seen two people who really got something on their chest sit down with each other and get it off. Like the fact that you could say how you feel, what you feel, and why it's upsetting you, and that other person sits there and receives it the way they do, instead of just saying, all right, you know what, I'm out, I'm done, it's over. So to me, I give it a 9 out of 10, just because of, like you all said, the aesthetics, the black and white. They picked the two perfect people for it, so that made it 10 times better. That's all.
So for me, I love the film. Like, I think that the film was aesthetically beautiful as far as the black and white. I've never watched a film like that where it was just in one setting. And so I've seen other people say like the movie Ma Rainey was kind of like that. And I just haven't seen any film like that in present day where it's in one setting. They're taking you to, I mean, you know, you're going through different events, but it's the same, you know, the same picture. And so for me, I liked how it looked. I love the acting. I think it was casted very well. Just hearing John David, he sounds just like his father. So it was nice, because I'm an ultimate Denzel Washington fan anyway. So it was just nice to be able to see, you know, his son being able to play a role like this. And I think this was a very pivotal role for him. I think this is one that'll kind of get him some more looks. And so I love the movie. I think that it was very exhausting for me to watch it the first time. I honestly had to kind of pause it a couple of times and like breathe and take breaths, because being someone who has been in a toxic relationship and has had heated arguments, very hard conversations with a significant other, that doesn't feel well. That doesn't feel good to have to actually now see that play out, because now you're actually like seeing your life. And so for me, I felt like it was a toxic relationship. So it was hard for me to be able to watch that for about 2 hours, hearing them argue. But I did enjoy the movie. I think the cinematography was beautiful. I think the music, it kind of reminded me, they had some soundtrack music from like Love Jones, and that's one of my favorite movies. And so it brought me back to that. I did enjoy, I just enjoyed seeing two people being able to, like Tomo, like you said, be able to have, be able to stay in a conversation with one another, but it was still hard to be able to just watch that. And I think at times it was for 2 hours, I'm like, well, is there anything else that we're going to see? I didn't expect for it to be like a long night. I'm like, when is the sun going to come up? Like, this is a long, I feel like this is going on a never ending conversation. And that after a while I was getting a headache. So, but it was still a good film. I think that it very much depicted some things that we do see in, you know, relationships, and like Brian said, Black culture. It can be tough, but because it's like a constant reminder, but I do think that it was good. So what do you guys think of their actual relationship? Like, do you think that, I know Tomo, you said that you don't think that it was a toxic relationship, but do you guys think that it was toxic? Like, do you think it was toxic? Do you think that either one of them was a narcissist, more of the narcissist, or both of them? Like, what do you guys think of some of the signs that you saw happening within their conversation and happening within the relationship?
They both are narcissists. Like, you can clear cut see that from the beginning. But when she walked in and she started, when she cut on the water, and he was back there dancing, talking about how you look beautiful and everything, and she was just like, I'm in my world. You in your world, I'm in world. Like, I got something on my chest right now. You not really paying attention to me, but I'm gonna get my stuff off in a minute.
I think
I'm sorry, Jay, 1 second. So would you say that they're toxic then, if they're narcissists?
That's because when you got two people of the same kind bumping heads,
okay,
I wouldn't say it's toxic. I think they were meant for each other.
Okay.
In a strange world.
Okay, Jay.
I think they were very tit for tat. Like, I don't believe that they have an understanding of what the other person needed in the relationship. I feel like every time Malcolm would say something, she would hit him back with something. It wasn't to have a discussion to understand, but I feel like it was a discussion. Well, you made me feel like this and you made me feel like this. It wasn't like a resolution type of thing, or we're coming to get a common resolution to fix the relationship. I feel like it was just very, you do this wrong, you do this wrong, you do this wrong. Well, you do this wrong and you do this wrong. So it's like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? That's what I got out of the relationship. I think they both are very toxic, and I would have to agree with what is it, Tomo? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
It's Tomo.
Tomo. I agree that they're both narcissists. They both are very self-centered individuals, and it's hard to see another person's point of view or how you're hurting that person when you are such a self-centered person.
Yes, I have to agree with Jay. I think that first of all, being in a relationship with a narcissistic person or someone who has narcissistic tendencies makes for a toxic relationship anyway. Because like Jay said, anytime somebody says something to you, you automatically have to hit back. Sometimes you hit back before they get a chance to even say anything to you. And like the bathtub scene when he was like, I can snap you like a twig, or I can hit back 10 times harder. It's like, there's nothing cute about that. Cause like Jay said, you're not trying to get to a resolution. You're literally trying to hurt that person. And when you are narcissistic, you are solely out for self, and nothing good comes of that because you're almost incapable of seeing something from another person's point of view.
B, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, but my point of view is kind of like being the successful male, and I kind of seen the movie different. I kind of seen it as the successful male not getting support from his female counterpart or his queen counterpart in life because of his level of success and her level of not being able to succeed. I kind of just seen it as like he just wanted to celebrate and she didn't want to celebrate because she felt like she wasn't appreciated, when he could sit there and say, you know, I love you. I'm here for you. I've been here for you. I put you through, I helped you go through the rehab and everything like that. So I kind of, it just kind of weighs on me a little bit different because I've dealt with being able to be successful and someone not feeling like they've been able to be AKA on my level and then taking it out on me like it's 100% my fault, when all you really do is kind of support. And yeah, he can get upset because he feels like he's been doing all of this and he's been trying to help her as much as he can help her mentally and physically and stuff like that. And then she'll say, oh, you didn't thank me in front of all these people, or hey, you wrote this movie about me. And then he'll say, I didn't write the whole movie about you. It was actually about, you know, some of these scenes came from past females. And he was kind of forced into that. He didn't want to say that because he would have said it from Jump Street, but he was kind of forced and beat down to say, look, this part was about this female. This part was about this female. So I don't think he was trying to strike the hurt. I think she pushed him to that point. And that's just how I kind of saw it.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I agree too.
It really just seemed like he wanted to celebrate, and from Jump Street, she wasn't with it because she felt like she wasn't paid her dues. Granted, if he took some parts of the movie from her life, yeah, okay.
I see it coming.
You know what I'm saying? Trust me, I already know what I'm saying, and I know how it's about to be. I do this all the time.
Listen, we should have, I'm trying to have real conversation because
if you think about it, and if you watch the movie, and before you make that conclusion, in the beginning, the first scene, okay, you're like, dang, she's really mad because he didn't thank her in his speech, right? But once you watch the movie and listen and get to the end, she is upset because she feels unappreciated in the whole entire relationship. It seems like to me that he doesn't value her the way that she needs him to value her. And it's like, okay, you're saying that you love me, you saying that you appreciate me, you're saying thank you now that I'm bringing up to you, but you should be able to realize and recognize that before I even have to say anything. Or why are you saying it in the comfort of our own home? Why can't you express what you're saying now in the public? And so I feel like in the beginning, the setting is to get us to think that she's only upset because he didn't thank her for his speech. But if you think about it and look and just watch the movie and she goes on about everything, she doesn't feel appreciated in the whole entire relationship. And he's so self-centered that he did not realize until that moment, like, well, dang, maybe she is right. But it took all of that for him to realize that, maybe she has a point.
Well, coming from a man who was in a position like that, you always know it's more than just the surface. So that first line of her saying, "You didn't thank me in front of everyone," you already knew it was more behind it, because anytime someone feels that way, they done built up a case against you. So they're just ready to attack. And that's what happened that night. She was like, "You didn't thank me? Now it's my time to tell you about blah, 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 blah."
I think it just hit her so hard. Like this was a pivotal moment in his life. And yet again, I helped him, but yet again, he still doesn't see the value that I hold in his life. How are you thanking everybody else and you forget the woman that's by your side? That's a hurt piece. Like, that is a hurt piece.
And let's not assume that just because somebody says something, just because you hear somebody bring up a complaint, that is the first time that they've ever mentioned it. Because Tomo, you're right. That's obviously, it wasn't just, you didn't thank me in the movie. You didn't thank me at the premiere or whatever. And yes, a case was obviously building, but I'm willing to bet that a backstory of their relationship or of the movie itself was having multiple conversations about respect, about appreciation, and about don't take me for granted. Like, when they had a brief moment of resolution, she said, "Just don't take me for granted." His response, and I'm pretty sure the writers did this on purpose, should have been, "I won't." He said, "I don't." And so she's like, I'm telling you, don't do this, because obviously you've been doing this entire time and you're already refuting what I'm telling you. Instead of saying, "I'm not going to," you're saying, "Well, I don't do that anyway." But that's not how I feel. And I'm pretty sure that she's expressed that, but many times before that night. It seems that they had been together for like 5 years or so.
Seemed like forever, honestly.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, it did come to a head, but not because of that one incident, because I'm just speaking from experience, having the same conversation over and over again, and when just feeling like you're not being heard, yeah, things are going to come to a head, and it's not necessarily attack mode, but it's like, what do I have to say to get you to hear me and to get you to understand where I'm coming from?
Or you pull a Tyrese, "What more do you want from me?"
Yeah, but in the
ahead.
same take, it's kind of like, I mean, I've been through hell and back with you, and I've been by your side. So you're telling me I don't appreciate you when we've been through this together. All of your turmoils I've carried on as my turmoil. So don't sit here and tell me I don't appreciate you because I didn't say thank you on the stage, because now you're picking and choosing what you care about. So, I mean, that's what was frustrating for me, because you could give to somebody for 5 years, and then I go on stage for 10 minutes one night and you're telling me I don't care about you. That stuff is just kind of like, I don't know. That's just kind of heavy for me.
Yeah, but I think that's why it's important to know a person's love language, because for him, I think most men, and I don't want to speak for y'all, but y'all can tell me if I'm wrong or not. I feel like y'all look at it as well as though you're extending your love and you're showing your spouse that, or your significant other, that you do love them and that you do care for them by providing and by doing all of these things. So for him, he's looking like, what do you mean? I've helped you to recover. I've helped build you up. I've helped you be in this nice house that I put you in, and I've helped you to be on this red carpet and all of this and get this exposure in Hollywood that you've been looking for. So what do you mean that I haven't done anything for you? However, all of those things are beautiful, nice, fancy, all of that. But for women, it matters to us. Our heart, like the emotional piece, is, well, for me anyway, my love language is words of affirmation. Words do matter, and I pay attention to what you say and what you don't say. And that's what she was pretty much saying in there. It's what you didn't say. You said a lot of things tonight. You thanked a lot of people, but I'm paying attention to what you didn't say. And what you didn't say, you didn't say anything about me. And so now I have to go back and evaluate, well, when has it happened previously where I haven't been acknowledged, and maybe not on a public, because before something comes out publicly, it's already been happening, I'm quite sure, privately. So in the private relationship that other people cannot see, there are things that I'm sure he's probably dismissed her in, you know? And I think when it comes to being in relationships sometimes, especially with people that, if your significant other is a narcissist or just one that is not emotionally available, as a woman sometimes, or whoever that other person is, you become passive to that controlling behavior. And so you withdraw, you don't speak. So it's probably been times where she has said things in the past, but just wasn't acknowledged, wasn't honored with whatever she was saying. Like Melanie said, this, I'm sure she said this before, but it's about sometimes people hear what they want to hear. So he might be like, well, you ain't never said this to me. No, I have said this to you. And I may not have worded it in this complete way, but I've led you up to, this is not your first time, because I'm not going to just show myself on this one night. You've seen this before. Now, at this point, I don't care. And I'm going to be dismissive to you. Like, it's going to be like, and I was waiting, because I can honestly say, from watching it in the beginning, I was a little annoyed with her before the argument happened, because I saw his excitement. I saw him wanting to just come home and celebrate, and then her just kind of like casually making the macaroni and cheese and then going outside and you know, smoking a cigarette and all that. And I'm like, dang, sis, like, move past it a little bit. Like, at least just, you know, get in the moment for a little bit and then had a conversation later or something. Like, I wanted her to kind of get out of that. But I do understand that when you've been sick and tired, it just happens sometimes where you're like, I don't care. And I want you to know that I'm not really feeling this moment. And so for me to answer the question, I think that they both are narcissistic. I think that what I didn't like was I think that she was very emotionally manipulative. And so I want to hold her accountable first, because I think I did not like how I think the whole like knife scene, you know, when they was in the living room and they was talking, and she wanted to kind of like show him that she deserved to be casted, and this is how, you know, I understood where she was coming from with it, because she was like, this is authenticity for you. Like, she was pretty much trying to tell him, if you would have, this is why you don't value me, I can do this or whatever. But it's like, really, I don't think it ever should get to a point where you pulling out knives and doing that, because now it's threatening. Like, that to me is definitely toxic. I think that could have went left, you know, real quick. And also I didn't like where, for him, he was very verbally abusive. I mean, they both were, but I did not like how, like Melanie said, I'll snap you like a twig. And then now he want to go down the whole laundry list of other women that he slept with and what the movie was about and all of this other stuff just to get her to shut up. It's just kind of like, what? Why? I think my issue with narcissism is it's a behavior or personality disorder where people don't know how to just take accountability and ownership. Just hear me in this moment. First of all, she didn't want to have the conversation that night anyway. And I think people, you know, it's funny because I've seen this with men where they'll ask you, well, at least let me speak for me, past relationships, they'll ask, Latrice, what's wrong? What's wrong? Just say. And I do think this is a bad thing that women do. We'll be like, nothing's wrong. Nothing. And they're going to keep asking, no, what's wrong? And then I've had it where they'll say it in such a consoling way, like, no, this is going to help our relationship. I need you to tell me what's wrong. Like, you need to communicate. So now, where at first I didn't feel safe to talk, you built me up to a place where you made me think that I'm now safe to speak. And so now I'm being vulnerable with you. And then once I'm vulnerable with you, now all of a sudden you got an attitude, because soon as she said what she said, that you didn't thank me tonight. Now he want to come down and start cussing her out and all kind of F-bombs and all that other stuff, where it's like, hold on, wait, I didn't even want to have the conversation. So now I'm pissed, because where I was here, I might've been at a 5 at first with my tone. Now that you just cussed me out and said all of these things, now you've got me to a 10. And so now I'm going to come back at you the same way. And I think that is it's so unhealthy that we do handle communication like this sometimes in our relationships. But I've realized that I can't do the toxic stuff no more. I think it is, yes, we should be able to have conversations, but why can't we clearly hear each other out? I thought it was sad that he finally heard her at the end of the movie after she said, just, Malcom, why couldn't you just, I just wanted you to say thank you. Thank you for this, and thank you for that, and thank you for this. And then what did he do? Lean up against the wall, shed some tears, and said, I'm sorry. So she wasn't wrong for how she felt, because it clearly hit him at some point in time for him to now be apologetic about it. But I think the issue is the fact, why did it have to take y'all to go through these whole 2 hours for y'all to now have a good tone with each other? I think delivery is important. If they would have started off the conversation like that, I think they would have came to an easier resolution 2 hours ago. But because they both have a laundry list of things that they feel about each other, because the Bible says out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So they clearly, truly meant what they said about each other. And that part for me was triggering, because I think that was unhealthy. Like the thank you and the I'm sorry at this point, that's not enough. Like, I'm past the I'm sorry and I'm past the thank you. Let's talk about sis that you was just talking about. You wanted to go all the way down here, and let's talk about how you talked about you was going to do this and snap me like a twig and all of this other. I can't. I'm past the thank you and I'm sorry, because what and talk about how you're going to take scissors and cut me, like I'm gonna cut myself. He brought up all of her weaknesses, the things that she shared with him, and her she truly saw him at some point as her safe space. And so I don't think that it was good that, from a verbal abusive standpoint, that now we're in an argument and now you want to bring up all of my weaknesses that I haven't revealed to other people. How dare you? And then you put this stuff in a movie and you won't even acknowledge that is those things that you were inspired from me. So why can't you just acknowledge the fact that I'm hurt and just accept that? Can you just say sorry? But I do agree, Brian. I do think that at some point she should have still showed some level of celebratory, just to be appreciative of her man. I think that was lost. And I think equally together, they don't love well with one another. I think they both use each other for whatever they need out of each other. I don't think it's a healthy relationship. I think they both are two broken people and they have found solace in each other's, like, whatever that is. And so they don't know how to properly express and show love. So she doesn't know when he just needs her to just be his woman and just love on him. And then she doesn't, he doesn't realize that she's saying, I'm hurt and I need you to hear me. So does somebody have something to say? Or we can move on to that.
I was gonna say, well, you explained it with your one point where you said it's not what you say. And as you was talking, it made me think about the fact that when she came in the house, she went to use a bathroom, and what's the first thing she did? She went to put on his favorite meal. It goes back to what you said. It's not what you say, it's what you do. She's showing you that no matter what I'm going through, I still know what you like. So look, this is me showing you instead of just telling you. And that's why I think that's why she flipped out when he was like, no, just say what's on your mind.
I agree, because she said, she did say, she was like, me coming home making your mac and cheese and this and that and this and that. I'm now trying to show you that, because we do that as women. We'll take the bullet, we'll shut up, and we now have to just do whatever our duty is. Okay, please our man, cook for him, clean, whatever the case may be, just to keep some peace. I truly believe if a woman is arguing or has some sort of issue or whatever, majority of the time, we don't just do that because we want to do that. Like, it's not fun for us. Like, I love you. I'm not trying to just argue with you and create an argument because I get a kick out of it. Now, some people may, but if we do that, it's majority, 9 times out of 10, it's a real issue. And if I'm not speaking, it's because I'm still probably processing my emotions and I'm trying to find some peace within myself so that I can find a better way to communicate it with you. But because I think, and I've learned this in therapy, that it's important to learn each other's communication styles and to know when a person is trying to process and then when a person is, because I think trying to force a conversation at times, that's a form of control. And he really wanted her to say, what's wrong? And she's like, Malcom, this is not the time tonight. This is not the time tonight. And she's like, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but not tonight. But then once she did that, then now it flipped the lid. And so I think that, like I said, I think it's important to learn each other's love languages and then also learn each other's communication styles so that you can have a healthy relationship. So my next question is, do you feel like this is a depiction of what we see today in our current relationships? Like, is this something that we do see actively going on in relationships, or do you think that the movie kind of exaggerated Black love, Black relationships, Black communication amongst couples? Like, do you think it was exaggerated, or do you think it was an accurate depiction?
So I think it was a very accurate depiction. Because like I said, I saw a lot of myself in former relationships in that movie. And just to kind of touch on something that you mentioned early in the last question about communication, yes, it is important to learn each other's love languages and communication styles, but you also have to, I guess, just be honest with yourself that not everyone is equipped to handle communication, because I know how it feels to have somebody ask you what's wrong and to know that if I tell you, you're going to get upset, but if I don't tell you, you're going to get upset. So what in the world do I do? But no, I think it was an accurate depiction, because there are real people who are recovering drug addicts. There are real people who have high aspirations and have finally gotten to a point where they've achieved, I guess, the first step of what their long-term dream has been. And those two people are often in relationships with each other. And I think that's what made it so hurtful to watch, is because it is so real and it's not just something that you're watching on Netflix.
Anybody else have anything to add? Do y'all think it's an accurate depiction of what's going on, or do you think it's an exaggerated?
I think it's accurate because, like you said, I mean, this is like real life stuff. I've experienced this probably 4 times in 4 past relationships. So I think it's super real. I don't know. It's just something about the Black trauma that people just feel like it's like, I don't want to see that over and over. I don't want to have, it took me 4 nights to finish that whole movie because it was so draining. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, we have to kind of get back into the fun of filmmaking and stuff like that. Because right now we just beating up the Black trauma, especially with, I mean, I don't want to switch the topic, but American Skin, it was the same. I'm like, yo, what the heck? And then the Black dude still died at the end. It's like, come on, yo, we got to really start changing it because it's not going to stop.
Why did you just spoil it?
I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, watch that joint.
I'm playing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, it was put together well, but it's like, yo, we have to stop reminding us about this stuff. Please.
I think it's a true depiction of what happens when two unhealthy individuals come together. I don't believe that it is an accurate story of Black love, but what happens whenever you don't take the time to heal, or just like she had wounds, like before you heal and know your triggers, if you don't take care of that, this is what can happen when you jump into a relationship with someone who doesn't understand. If you don't understand yourself, how are you able to communicate that to somebody else for them to make you a better person, or to help you, or to even just be in a relationship with you? So I think it was a true depiction of two individuals who were bruised, who are unhealthy, but they have such a strong love for the other. And a lot of times, sometimes we do have to take that moment and be like, you know what, I love you so much, but I have to do this for me, and not fight through it if it's becoming that toxic for you.
Yeah, I agree with everything that everyone was saying. It's definitely a true depiction of what happens today, but it's more so, instead of the two people being in front of each other saying it, they act it out on social networks. So you'll see a whole relationship end on Instagram, Twitter, maybe Clubhouse now. So, yeah.
I agree. I think from the positive perspective, like Jay said, it's not everybody's story, but I think it's a majority of people's story. And I think even though it was hard to watch a traumatic story and relationship play out in our eyes, I think this is the very purpose of what the director, the writer wanted to portray, because now people are having conversations around this very topic. People are able to see, because sometimes when it's in your household, you're not able to see it. But when you see something, like when you see it in somebody else's life, it's easy to call somebody else out about their issue. But then when it's in your house, you don't take accountability, like I said. But because of the fact that we were able to see it play out in another relationship, a lot of people were able to identify, like, I've even seen my parents go through this, or I've been through this, or I've seen friends go through this. And so this is a real issue. And even though it's a draining topic, it's one that's real. You know, now we can be able to use words like narcissism or abuse, verbal abuse, or alcoholism, or whatever, drug addictions, where people, especially in the Black community, weren't honest about the issues that were going on in their homes. You know, I think growing up, we are in a generation today as millennials where we are a lot more honest about things that we may see, where, you know, previous generations, may have seen our grandparents, great grandparents struggle through in relationships, but they weren't honest. You know, you might have seen your grandmother, your great grandmother push through, but really she was not. There was no emotional relationship to our great grandfather. Like, I know I have that in my family bloodline, where you got two people that they live together, but they don't sleep in the same room together. They got all these kids, but they don't sleep in the same. The wife is the one taking care of the home, and the husband is out here cooking. Out here providing. But that's still a broken home, you know, because now you got kids growing up and they're not seeing their parents have any kind of intimacy. You may not see your parents, you may not see the father be emotionally available because he's at work all the time. And so I think what we're seeing played out is a lot of the generational wounds that have occurred throughout history within the Black community. And even though it's hard to, you know, to watch that, I think it's a very real thing, because if you don't heal something, then things will get passed on. Like Jay said, we saw two broken people. I do think that they were like-minded people. They both had the same personality style. They both were narcissists. They both were emotionally manipulative, all of those things. But it was sad because these two people had brokenness in their relationship, but neither one of them was being, I didn't see nobody say, I'm walking away from this. They still were like, I'm going to be in it. And I think that even though, I think that's the thing, like, we look at Black love sometimes as one that has to be long suffering and persevering, when is it going to be a point of, this isn't healthy and I need to walk away? But we may not have seen that, you know, in our families. Like, we may have seen, or just in our communities, period, where we have seen our mothers be abused, cheated on, infidel, like all this other type of stuff. And now that I'm a growing adult, I'm a woman, I'm in a relationship, why am I putting up with verbal abuse? Why am I putting up with narcissism? Because I have. Why am I putting up and staying in a toxic relationship, fighting to pray that this man will change? And he's not going to change when I need to walk away, and he's not my husband yet. But that's the issue. The issue is the fact that we have to learn how to heal, and to be able to see that, you know, I think their relationship definitely deserved that. If they were going to stay together, I think that their relationship for sure needed to have some type of relationship counseling. Like, I don't think that they would be able to be successful, because he's like, marry me now. We're going to get divorced plenty of times anyway. So let's just let's just get married now. Is that what we need to be doing? Because in today's society, that is happening. And then kids are coming. And then now we either stay in a relationship because we got kids and you want to be stuck, or the kids are seeing broken homes, or whatever the case may be. And then this is a cycle that's constantly repeating. So I think the director and the writer did a great job at putting this in front of us, because it's now making people be honest about things that may have been going on in their personal life, and realizing, like, what I'm seeing in front of me, I don't never want to deal with that again. So I don't know if anybody has anything to add.
I just had a question, I guess, because something that Brian said really stuck out when he asked, I guess, when are we going to start showing us better? I guess, like, showing Black relationships or Black love in a better light. And I think, if I can just tag on to that question, when are we going to start giving them something to portray in a better light? Because unfortunately, that is a lot of what we see. I think Tomo mentioned, you seeing people's relationships play out on social media. You seeing husbands and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends cussing each other out, people subbing each other. And it's like, nothing is sacred anymore in this day and age. But at some point, and I'm hoping, and listening to you all, it is giving me a different perspective of this movie and how it may be changing the narrative of Black relationships. Because, Treese, I agree. I think that by looking at this movie, it is going to show people or make people think that is not something that I want. And so it's just my hope and my prayer that we get to a point where that is not the, I don't want to say epitome of a Black relationship, but where that's not what is portrayed all of the time, if that makes any sense.
I agree. So what do you guys think that we can do? Like, what are some things that can help be a better resolve in the male and female communication style? Because the issue really is communicating, whether that's one voicing and listening, truly being able to receive what the person is saying. So, you know, you got the sender and receiver. Like, I can speak, but are you truly receiving, and vice versa? So what are some ways, because I think as women, we always try and figure out how to understand y'all. And I think as men, y'all probably try and figure out how to understand us too. And so from a communication style, like what works for y'all, like, and what doesn't work? Because maybe Malcolm, you know, looking at it, it looked like he wanted to have the conversation. So it looked like he wanted to talk about it. But I know sometimes I hear a lot, men be like, I don't like drama. I don't want to deal with drama. But you created, you set up drama tonight. Like, I wasn't even trying to give it to you.
I think the struggle is that some, like, and this is not to undermine the females' feelings or anything like that, because y'all have the right to feel the way y'all want to feel. But some of the stuff that most females be tripping off of, the men don't even be thinking about at all. Like, we don't see it as an issue at all. So when y'all bring it up, it's like, dang, y'all really upset about this? But what y'all have to realize is that since we don't understand it, we can't react and give you the response that you want because we don't understand why you're so upset. So that triggers y'all even more because it's like, you're not even hearing me. You don't even understand where I'm coming from. Yes, I don't get where you're coming from because I don't even understand why you're upset from Jump Street.
And to
and that's the epitome of, like, that's the answer to the question, like, why do y'all think men don't care? It's not that we don't care. We don't understand why you're so upset because we don't even understand why you're mad.
And I'm gonna jump in right quick because I was just having the same conversation with my homie, right? And I was telling him, I was like, we got to understand that we think we operate from a logical standpoint, and women more so operate from an emotional standpoint. So what you all are saying is coming from an emotional standpoint that don't seem logical to us, but you're just like, look, I want to feel better. I don't care if it doesn't make any sense. I just want to feel better. And once we start understanding that a little bit more, then I think the conversations will be aflow a little bit better. Am I right or am I wrong, ladies?
I agree with you, but I also feel like there has to be a willingness between both the women and the men to learn the other person and to understand the way they think. Because if I'm not willing, and again, if I'm self-centered and I'm just worried about how I feel and what I want out of it, I'm never going to be able to tap and be like, okay, well, I feel like this, but maybe he's looking at it like this, like maybe I'm tripping. So I think it's a lot to do with the willingness and being a selfless person. Like, even when it comes to marriage, you have to be a selfless individual. You can be mad at your husband didn't pick up the clothes, but it's something like, is that something that you need to trip off of? Like, maybe he was running late for work and he didn't have time to pick up the clothes, whatever. It's just like, you have to have the willingness to understand where the other person is coming from, and the willingness to get to know that person and how they think, how they feel, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, Jay pretty much threw hers out of my mouth. I think you definitely have to be willing to understand, and you can't just use your lack of understanding as an excuse to not listen. To me, and again, I'm just speaking on experience, that's just not good enough to say, well, I don't understand why y'all females, which I'm sorry, that really grinds my gears, but that's, to me, is not good enough. You don't understand something simply because you're a man. But if I'm telling you something, if I'm looking you in your eye and I am telling you what bothers me, logical or not, that is what bothers me. And like Tomo said, yes, I just want to feel better because, as Treese mentioned earlier, as women, we take on the burden of a lot. Like, there is so much, and it's not always, I guess it's kind of the curse of being a woman. We just kind of bear the brunt of a lot. And so it's like, at some point, I just want for you to share this load. And a lot of times, a little bit of understanding goes a long way. A simple thank you goes a long way. It's not enough just to know that somebody loves you or somebody appreciates you. Sometimes you do want to hear it along with the action. But again, like Jay said, the biggest thing is the willingness to understand, even if it doesn't seem logical. I think from a woman's perspective is that's the key. Just be willing to hear me out and let's talk about it.
I think also too, it goes down to value and respect, because I think men look at things sometimes as, because women are emotional, like what they have to say is invalid, and because we're emotional. So it's like it's coming from a weak standpoint or something like that. Like emotion is weak, or emotion isn't there's no validity behind what a person is saying. Because I've dealt with somebody and I could be talking to them and I'm like, well, look, I feel like this is what you, no, ain't no feelings. I don't want to hear no words about feeling. Like, you need to show me the fact. Like, what's the fact? Like, when did I do this? I want to hear. And I'm like, well, and I'm trying to talk, and a person is critiquing your words because I'm using emotional language. And that's not fair. When I feel like, why can't, now I'm saying I feel like, but why can't I communicate to you, like Melanie said, my perspective? Yeah, perspective is somebody's reality, but this is what is occurring in my reality. This is how I feel. This is what I'm seeing. This is what's real to me. And so if I'm trying to communicate that to you, if you respect me and you value me and you love me, why can't you just give an ear to it without automatically, because I think, like I said, because like Tomo, you said, y'all as men, y'all already know that we're emotional. So you already know that it's going to be some heartfelt whatever behind what we're saying, but it doesn't mean that it's not valid. You know, it doesn't mean that it's not no logic. I thought about what the heck I was going to say to you. Like, I'm not just saying it out of thin air. So I'm bringing you experiences, but because I'm not listening every time you did X, Y, and Z, is not enough. No, that's not fair. And so I think even within that communication, at times there's communication manipulation, because people feel like, oh, this is not you being too emotional. You need to just, no, I'm telling you from the standpoint of where I am. And I think we have to do a better job at that. I think that conversations get lost at times because of the fact that there's no real value system, there's no respect level. Again, because like I said, I think if you respect the relationship enough, you'll want to have a resolve. Like that, you're going to want to come to some sort of solution. But I think that's vice versa too. I think that women, we can do a better job as well at understanding our man's needs and what he's saying and what he's not saying as well. But I think that as far as from a male standpoint, just because you don't understand doesn't mean that you should dismiss or disregard because you don't understand. Try to understand. Try to, really and truly, a lot of the understanding just comes from listening. Not arguing with me, not combating with me when I'm expressing myself to you. Just listening to me, then you will get some understanding. So
you say listen with the intent to understand and not respond.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
We have a rebuttal, but just hear us out first.
Yeah, let me get it out before. Oh, I don't want you saying feelings and you doing it. Like, what? How? I can't even get it out. And now I'm shutting down because I see that the conversation is going left. So it doesn't even make me want to communicate anymore. It makes me not want to talk, or I'm either going to have an attitude because I can see that it's going to be some, there's going to be some issue here. So I think that it does. I think the listening to understand, but I think it's on both parts, because like I said, women, we need to listen to understand our men too, because a lot of times, like y'all said, I think sometimes things are not, it's not black or white. So for us as women, we're trying to give you the details. Like, I know that men, y'all don't need all of that, but you just want us to get to the point. But all of what we're saying has meaning. So like she said at the end of the movie, she's like, just thank me for this and thank me for that and thank me for this, because I've done these things for you too. This is not a one-sided relationship. You feel like you've only done for me, but I've been there for you too. Even if I was just here from an emotional standpoint, I was here as an emotional support for you to get through this film.
I was your muse.
Yeah. So it's just like, why I think sometimes it can get lost because people may think they do more than what the other is doing, but just because what I'm doing isn't tangible, like it's not something that you can see, doesn't mean that I'm not still providing in the relationship. I'm providing the emotional support that y'all cry about that we are, all this emotion, but I'm providing this emotional stability for you so that you, because for most men, they don't have safe places anywhere else with men. Y'all got to be hard, all that. So don't turn your camera on now. Like y'all come to women where y'all come to your girl because we are your safe place. So it's like, why can I be this to you in one instance, but then I'm your enemy in the next?
Yes, and it's like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, Queen's first. Go ahead.
Thank you. Now I was just going to say, in sort of an ironic way, as soft and emotional as we women are, we're also a lot of times the rock, because we are the safe space. And I think overall we just want to have a safe space too. It's really simple. Just be our safe space as well.
And not to come at y'all's back, however, I do not think that a man is even has the ability to handle everything that is thrown our way. Like, you have no idea. You just don't have any idea, like how much stuff that we have to handle. And then for you to tell me how to control my emotions, the audacity. It's like, let's switch shoes, and then I'm gonna tell you how to react and see if you can handle, or if you see like, if you like the way I'm telling you how to handle your emotions. I don't think y'all be able to handle it. I know y'all wouldn't be able to handle it.
I just find it funny how, that's all I had to say. I just find it funny.
I didn't hear you.
I just find it funny how, you know.
No, complete that statement. You find it funny how what?
I'm just doing what y'all. I'm just doing what I've experienced. I just find it funny how.
Don't even.
No, but think about it. Just think about it. Like, even it dates back to childhood. Almost like, we as women, like, we're trained to be like, we're almost trained to be a wife, where you guys aren't trained to be that. It's like, we have baby dolls, we're in the kitchen, y'all are out playing football. And it's just like, this has been embedded since childhood. And I come from a very nurturing mom, emotion. So we show our emotions, we show our love. And it's kind of hard to be with somebody who can't give you that back, or doesn't even know how to receive that as well. So that's a whole different conversation for another day.
Yeah, you opening up a whole nother can of worms.
But that's a real point, because I think that then you start to see women out here that become a little bit more emotionless in their relationship style. We see the city girl mentality. And then y'all men get upset when women start to boss up or to become independent, and that's going to be a segue real soon about this Lori Harvey conversation. But when you see a woman now, because I think men think that we're supposed to be broken all the time. We just supposed to be wounded, and we just going to be sad. We ain't crying about y'all all the time, you know? But it's one of those things where it's like, why is it that y'all want us to be emotional, and you want us to be ladylike, and you want us to be women in one aspect, but then when I'm now building myself up and my self-esteem, and most of the time I'm building myself up and getting self-esteem from my male friends. They telling me that, you know, move on or whatever. So I'm trying. Brian, you're one of them people for me. And so I think it's like, now when I become a little bit more, like, I want to be a little bit more guarded because men are, why now all of a sudden it's an issue? Because now I'm not being as soft or whatever you want me to be. So that's answer that. I need to know.
I think the issue is that females that have been hurt by men that aren't really men have these conversations with men that are really men. So the answers that we are giving you are answers from men that are men. So the conversation may never happen with the man that has been wronged you, because he doesn't understand that he wrongs you, because he thinks his wrongs are rights. So I feel like the best way to deal with it, I mean, as a female, this is not me telling y'all what to do, is to take that joint on the chin, get your advice from a man, and just move accordingly, because you've already dealt with the man that wasn't the man that's wronged you. You don't want to go into another relationship where he's saying, oh, why you acting like this? Why you acting like that? You got your advice from a man on how you should move from now on forward. if another man's telling you to change the way that you're acting, he's not a man. Just I think we talk about it so much, and it's just so draining to have that conversation. Like, what are we supposed to do as women? Why the men don't support us? When there's actual men out here that do support y'all, y'all just don't select the right man, or y'all always turn the blind eye to the red flags, and you always end up like, oh, men ain't shit, and generalize all of the men. I mean, men ain't stuff. I'm sorry, Latrice. That was the first time today. I'm doing pretty good.
It's okay.
But just trying to generalize men in the same category when that's not the case. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like the conversation is good to have, but it's like, yo, we got to stop talking like this and just start moving forward and just, wanting better for ourselves.
Hey, Brian, as a male best friend, I feel your pain, buddy. I feel your pain.
Exactly.
You calling me about this same dude again? Like, I'm telling you what he's doing is not right. Like, are you gonna listen to what I'm telling you, or are you just gonna keep doing what you think is right? Like, I see the red flags. Take the exit right now. Get off the highway. Like, you about to crash. Just get off the highway right now.
And don't say I told you so, because you just as wrong as him.
Man, I just do this now. I just do this whenever my female friends call. I just be like, "What you do?" And then we just break the conversation down from that point.
But you know what? It's not always as easy to walk away. Sometimes you do just straight up ignore red flags. Sometimes you don't see them. But I think as nurturers, we are kind of conditioned to give grace and to give second chances, even if it's at our expense. I think also we're kind of conditioned to think, well, nobody is perfect. And I know I'm not. So I got flaws. If he can accept my flaws, I can accept his. I think we just have to know when enough is enough, and when understanding turns into being abused or being taken for granted. And that's just something that I know I need to keep in mind moving forward, if I can just be honest with myself.
And I agree with Mel. Also, it's like, I don't want to say this because this is kind of an excuse. So check me if I'm wrong, y'all. I feel like a lot of times the representative shows up, and then it's like after he gets tired and he wants to retire from that, then he's going to show up and he's going to reveal himself. But by that time, we've already invested in emotion. And I will say for myself, I am more of like a healer. So like, I am an encourager to my core. That is who I am. And I just believe the best in everybody. And I think for me, that is my mistake in relationships, where I'm like, I'm trying to be so understanding, but at the same time, I'm hurting myself because I'm being so understanding of why this person could be doing this, or, just trying to make understanding of why people think the way they think, why they do what they do. And it's like, at some point, it's just like, nah, sis, you got to chalk it up and look out for yourself. But it is very hard for me to leave people. I like to leave people better than when I came. So I think that is my issue.
All wounds don't close. I think that's right.
And all queens shouldn't give their time to men that ain't kings either. You have to just realize that it ain't gonna work, and just let them hands fly, because you're gonna tear yourself down trying to build that person up that just want to stay exactly where they at, and they don't see no longer what they're doing. Because at this age, I mean, everybody's probably 25 and up. People are literally going to be stuck in their ways until they have some life-changing thing that happens, to some epiphany in their head, or God touches them on their shoulder. If you're 25 and you're acting a certain way, or 26, 27, 28, Lord, behold, 30, and you can't get it right by then, ain't no human going to make you get your stuff together. Man. Like, it's almost like impossible. And I mean, just me, that's how I feel about it. So if I'm dating the female and she's coming with the issues, and not even the baggage, but just like the insecurities and the trust issues, it's like, bro, you don't know me from a can of paint. I've done nothing to you. You don't need to be attacking me. Matter of fact, this isn't even going to work.
Exactly.
Out the door.
First of all, where were you throughout the last couple of years of my life?
That's what I mean. It's just like a natural thing, because that comes with me having to deal with my own hurt and having to learn how to deal with people and reading books on how to handle people. You really have to understand the human nature and what people are in it for. Yeah. Some people are genuine and they want to be nice and they want to make sure everybody is okay, which is the me type of person. And other people are just like users and abusers, or people just love angrily. Like, my mother is an angry lover. Like, she will yell at you, yell at you, yell at you, yell at you, and then buy you all the gifts for Christmas and act like she didn't yell at you for all the days out the year. And that always threw me off. Like my mother would hound me and we would get whoopings all year. And then Christmas, it'll be, hey, how's it going? She would yell at us on Christmas Eve. And then we'll wake up to a full Christmas tree full of gifts. And I'm just like, nah, she about to whip out the belt or something. Something ain't right at this point, but it's just the way we was raised. I don't get it. It's crazy. You just got to break out of it and do your thing.
You just got all up in my business.
now we're gonna have to borrow Latrice's best friend. You mind sharing?
No, for sure. I got my Instagram. I mean, Latrice knows like it. I don't like to brag, but I don't miss when it comes to how to deal with people because I worked in customer service my whole life. I had to deal with every single type of person, whether they be 55 to 25 to 18, woman, female, black, white, Mexican, Spanish, Muslim. I don't care. You had to handle that person and you had to make sure that they were happy. And that's what it is. If you make sure everybody is happy, nobody's upset. That's it. Just put a smile on somebody's face.
No, that's a fact.
Since we were talking about emotion, do you guys think it's easy for you guys to cut somebody off because I don't want to call you emotionalist, but you don't tap into your emotions as much as we as women do? Or do you think it's like a self-worth, self-value type of thing? Like, what do you think is the reason why you guys it's so easy for you guys to be like, look, you go on.
This is exactly what Brian said. Once you see how a person is operating and you see that they're contributing to making you better or trying to make this situation better, you got to walk away from it. And I think it's also a thing where, like you said, with men, it's easier for us to disconnect from certain situations. Easy. It's just like, that's not working, I can go over here. That's not working, I can go over here. And another thing you can add to that gumbo pot is confidence. Do you have the confidence that you can go build and be better with somebody else? That's another factor in it. Some people just don't have the confidence to move on. They're like, well, I know what this is. I know you, and I know how you're going to react. So I'm going to just stay here because this is all I know. Sometimes you just got to jump off.
And do you love yourself enough not to let somebody stress you out? Because at the end of the day, you control your emotions. Like, what's the value in yourself and your time that you can say, all right, this person's been getting on my nerves, but they apologize and they didn't mean it. Oh, next week they getting on my nerves again. Dang, I'm gonna have to put up with this again. But you know what? They don't mean it. That's just how they are. I'll deal with it for a little bit. And next thing you know, you 6 months in dealing with the same person. When you gonna start valuing your time? Why are you letting somebody else upset you? You have women deal with all of this stuff on a daily basis to come home and let a man stress them out. Nah, it don't make sense to me. It don't make sense to me.
It's not logical.
No, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'm telling you, the women that know their value, and I know some prestigious women in my life, I'm telling you, if they husband come at them sideways, or you tripping, you need to take 2 days off. And I'm talking about they married. You need to take 2 days off. You need to reevaluate yourself. And then the husband will come back and say, you know what? I was wrong, woody whoop, woody whoop. And these are just conversations I had with females because we can have those conversations, but like you really have to value your time and understand what's not for you is not ever going to be with you. I understand you want to nurture and build up, but we ain't got time for that no more. The world is moving way too fast. Like if you don't have any kids, you don't have any kids. Don't be babying no man at all.
I think you have to go through the fire to get to that point. And that's
for sure.
And sometimes sometimes it involves the experience. Sometimes it involves, coming of a certain age. Like me, and Latrice and Jackell know a horrible experience I went through. And I'm also 31, so I don't have the mentality that I did 5 years ago, to where if I were to ever meet somebody that came to me wrong, like, you don't get a second chance at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what it looks like to give somebody grace who really doesn't deserve it. Me as a grown woman, as a mother, especially as a mother of a little boy, you don't get that second chance. You get one opportunity to snip, cutting you with the nail scissors or whatever.
I like how you tied that all back into the movie.
Now, I will say, because, like I said, this is a faith-based podcast. And so I know that I have a lot of women that are listening that are believers. And so I think the issue for us as Christian women, we go in the word about, our relationships. And in the Bible, it says one of the fruit of the spirit, one of the fruit of the spirits is long suffering. And then another one is patience. And then another one is love. And then you go in 1 Corinthians 13 verses 4-8, and it says love never gives up. And so I think it gets hard for us because we have to learn how to not, what is it? I'm not going to say manipulate the scriptures, but we got to learn how to reevaluate the scriptures, because God also said that you shouldn't be with somebody that's unequally yoked, and so, and it's not just unequally yoked from a salvation standpoint, like, is he saved? No. Are we equally yoked when it comes to values? Are we equally yoked when it comes to morals, beliefs? Are we equally yoked when it comes to our purpose? Like, can you be my purpose partner? Like, what is your relationship with God like? Because if you can honor God, you'll honor me, you'll honor the relationship. And so, but if he doesn't honor or even really know how to be submissive in his relationship with God or whatever, then it's going to be hard for him to honor you. I truly believe that. But I think that and even if he is, because I had dealt with a man that I went to church with, and he was saved and he had a strong relationship with God, but he still mistreated me. So that it could get confusing, because it's like, well, what about the saved man? They still off too. Well, the thing is, it lines up to, like I said, like Brian said, do you love yourself enough? Because yes, the Bible says that love is kind, love is patient, love is not rude, love doesn't take accountability. Love doesn't take account for wrongdoing. But I think that scripture goes back to us first. Do I love myself? Am I patient with myself? Am I kind? Am I gentle? All of these things. And so if I love myself enough, then I need to love what my standards are. I need to love what my values are. And if this person is making me compromise in the way that I feel about myself, in the way that I see about myself, because now I have to elevate my self-esteem and I have to work on my self-worth. If this is compromising to me, like Brian said, we don't have time to waste. So if it's compromising even within my time and within my focus, then I need to go and ask God, is this the relationship? Is this worth, me even still investing my time and interest in? More than likely it's not, and so then now that's the instruction in the way that God wants us to go, because we'll sit and we'll be like, God, show me if he's the one or not. And he showed us 50 million signs, but then we want to use the one where it's like, well, God said, okay, let me be patient, let me be long suffering, no, listen, we can suffer long, but not suffering long with people. I'm not suffering long with people. Like, I'm not suffering long with people that are not doing, also invested into me. Like, if they're not giving me that same time, attention, love, care, and it's not a mutually exclusive relationship where both of us are investing into one another, then I'm wasting added value here. Then now I'm not prospering in this area of my relationship. And so I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit, because I think us as Christian women, and I'm saying this to y'all too as men, because I think it'll help you understand us a little bit why. Like, I'm not just in this relationship, even though y'all have told me time and time again to leave this person. I'm not just in it because I want to be weak. I'm in it because of the fact that I'm trying to be hopeful about this person's, because we women, we be thinking that they are our assignment and all this other stuff. Like, okay, I'm gonna wear him, like he gonna come be, I'm gonna wear him to Christ, he gonna be doing this and that. And then it's like, no, God ain't never say he was your assignment. He ain't never say you was supposed to be doing that. The assignment that I gave you was to be working on your business, working with, loving your kid, being a good steward over your child, your home. But we put our assignment in other places that God didn't tell us to do. And so this is, I think, for us as women, we have to reevaluate the scriptures more. And we need to go back to Psalms 139, where it's the love scripture. And it talks about how God says, you're fearfully and wonderfully complex. I've made you in my image, after my likeness, all of these things. This is how he feels about us. So if God is writing love letters to us, and he's affirming us through his word, then I need to be in a relationship with a man that can affirm me as well. And what is your language to me? If you're not building me up, then you're not for me. And so, but like Melanie said, it does take some time, experiences, because you're not just going to get it with the first relationship. You may miss it. Now, some people are lucky where their first relationship, they found their purpose partner, but that's not everybody's story. So women, be gentle with yourself. If you're in this relationship now where you might be a little struggling and confused about, should I stay or should I go, be gentle with yourself, and also pray about it. And If you don't got no peace, I say leave him. It ain't worth it.
One more thing to add to what you just said. You can love somebody from across the street. Like, just
Hello.
remember that.
Sure can. So, okay, so let's go into someone who is loving somebody across the street, across the world, across coast to coast. Sis Lori Harvey is not playing with y'all. She is not playing with y'all. So, I want to talk
got her foot on
about
our necks.
she is not playing. Her 23, 24-year-old self is living her best life. Miss Marjorie Harvey is raising her daughter in the way that she should go, honey. So so y'all tell me what y'all think about Lori Harvey. One, what do you think about her and her dating style? And what do you think about her and Michael B. Jordan? Like, do you think it's a genuine relationship? Do you think they'll last? Like, what do you think?
Do you think that it's frowned upon just because it's in the media? Because if you think about it, she's dating how people say you should date multiple people. You should get to know multiple people. Is it because she is in the light and everything that she's doing, we can see? Because what she's doing is dating. I mean, I'm not saying sleep with everybody that you come in contact with. And who knows if she is, but she's dating. I think it's just, it looks bad because it's like, oh, she was just with bro. Oh, she was just with bro's dad. Oh, this week she got a new one. Oh, this month she got a new one. I think if nobody knew it, she's dating. And that's my perspective. Now, I don't know. We don't know the ins and outs of the situation. We don't know if she's having sex with these people. I'm sure she is, but what if she isn't? And it's like, isn't that dating? Like, don't you date multiple people to see who fits for you?
Yeah, okay. So yes, I get what you're saying. It does look bad because it's in the limelight. But I think another aspect about her dating past that also looks bad is, and again, like you said, Jay, we don't know all the ins and outs. But from what it appears, there was a father and son, and there was somebody that has a whole bunch of kids by a whole bunch of women who seems to have no respect for their mothers. So I think those two aspects for me is what makes it look bad. Is you go from father to son, then you go to this man that got, how many kids he got, y'all? Like 5, 6?
7.
It takes a village.
A village, yes, like a whole singing group. And then as far as the whole Michael B. Jordan thing, I think people's star power rise when they date, when they connect with certain people. I mean, like, look at Cardi B and Offset. Now, I've never been a fan of the Migos, but Offset was not in the forefront of Migos before he got with Cardi B. All you heard was, what's his name, Quavo, whatever. Then once he got with Cardi B, Offset was all you heard. And I'm not saying that's what's happening between Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey, because they were already, I guess they already had stardom in their own right. But sometimes when certain people connect, if they both are bringing something to the table or something to the relationship, it does elevate their star power. And at this point, not that I'm not so invested in their relationship, because it really has nothing to do with me, but it's like, we just kind of have to see what happens as time goes on. So.
And I just want to add, and this is before Boosie said anything, and I notice this all the time, that the issues with the way women move are always kind of like pushed and shunned by women. So it's not like men are saying, oh, y'all, we mad because she ain't choosing us. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? We ain't mad that she jumping in woody whoop. We mad because we ain't Michael B. Jordan, or we ain't Future. You know what I'm saying? We ain't mad that she going from man to man because we want to be the next man. I think a lot of it kind of comes from like women just bashing other women. And I feel like that, I mean, that's another argument, but I feel like that's the base of why it looks wrong, because women don't agree with it. Because hey, a woman might want Michael B. Jordan. She done took their man off the street. That, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's just something that the women got to work out. Because I'm sure men are saying, "Oh, she is this, she is that," because she going from here to here. Because you know, some type of men don't care about that stuff. They trying to be the one that's buying the AP on the wrist and stuff like that.
I was gonna say, I look at it as what Jay was saying earlier. She just living out any woman's fantasy. Like, imagine if you was just a regular woman and you were placed in a room with all of your famous desires or the guys that you look up to. Like Teresa, you were saying you're a Denzel fan. So imagine if you was in a room and Denzel was like, "So what's up?" You just gonna act on what the situation presents.
Nope,
So
because he a fine grown man. He's real fine. And Diddy too.
See, so she just living out her fantasies. It just so happened that she's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Now I will. Oh, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm sorry, sis. I was just getting ready to say, and most non-famous women we don't always have the option to always go from one man to another, not to sleep with them, but just for the sake of having multiple options, even though we tell ourselves, yes, give yourself options. Don't get so tied down to one person. It doesn't always work that way, because most of us are used to being pursued. And because we're not in the limelight, we're not pursued by a whole bunch. I mean, people are going to notice us, of course, but we don't have people, like showering us with affection or with gifts on a regular basis, like somebody like a Lori Harvey or just a celebrity, period. So I think Brian mentioned that a lot of times it's other women that have a problem, because it is something that we're kind of being taught now to date around, but the options are not always there. And so I don't know. I think it's just really, I wish I kind of had that. I'm just saying this may be the general
He made his point.
of some women, that I wish I was able to do that. I mean, shoot, who doesn't want to have options?
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to ask, is it that you don't think that you don't have options, or you just do have the options, they're just not your type?
It could be both, because sometimes you are in a season of I hate to say like a dry spell, and then sometimes you could be pursued by certain people, and you're like, you know what, that's just not, I don't have anything to offer you right now. So I think it just depends on the season.
Oh, okay.
And I think it also with women, it is because we get a lot of times we put all of our eggs in one basket. So if we find one guy that's pursuing us and we're interested in him, it's like, all right, I'm gonna be cool off the dating scene. So even if you do have these options, if you find that one that you're feeling, I can only speak for myself. It's hard for me to date multiple people. Maybe that's something that I need to learn how to do. But for me, it's like once I find somebody that I'm interested in, I'm like, all right, I'm interested in him, and everybody else is just like, hey, like I'm, not really in the limelight. It's not your turn yet.
So I think my response to it is, I think about how I've heard men say that good guys finish last. And I think in this situation, if you are a woman that is not a celebrity or whatever, it can kind of make you feel that way when you see Lori Harvey out here or other celebrities out here going from man to man, because I consider myself to be a good woman. And so because of that, do I have the same like, am I able to do what Lori Harvey does? Like with a normal man out here and not be judged, not be criticized, not be looked at as a whole because I'm going from man to man to man. Most of the time, sometimes not. And I also think, when I say the good girl finished last, because I think it makes Lori Harvey become more appealing because she is moving the way that she's moving. So men are, because you kind of, even I think, this old principle of you want someone that's not yours. So it makes people want to chase her more because they see her with everyone, but then it's the good girl over here that's minding her business, doing her work, tending to, her job and her kids and whatever the case may be, and you get overlooked. But then y'all going and y'all chasing the Stallions and, Young Miami and these type of girls. And it's like, well, what makes her to be a good woman? Why is she the one to be chosen when I'm over here and I'm I could add just as much, but because I don't have a blue check next to my name, then I don't get that same type of love and attention and pursuance too. So I think
at bars, Do you got the bars?
The bars.
I don't, but neither does Lori. So, and my thing is with this, when I was looking at sis, I feel like my thought process is she's an opportunist. But I had to go on her page, her bio, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, she got, because I wanted to know, what did she do? Like, I didn't know what she did. So I had to go on her bio. I'm like, okay, well, she does have a clothing line. She got like her own collection of stuff or whatever. But I was wondering if she's going from man to man to man to kind of, because all of these men are not, these are men that are very credible in celebrity. Like, people are going to pay attention. She's not just dating some football player that nobody know. Like, she's dating people that you know. So I'm like, okay, well, she's clearly trying to get put on in some kind of instance. She want people to look at her clothes more or something, because it's drawing people to attention to her page or whatever. Because even just yesterday, I wasn't following Lori Harvey. I just followed her now, but I know other people do. But for me, I just was like, well, is it giving her, does this help her with, or is she seeing this as an opportunity? I'm not saying like a PR stunt, but is she seeing it like an opportunity with these, like with the men that she's choosing? Because I don't think she's not choosing any old celebrity. She's choosing certain celebrities that definitely have clout, got a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. Like, she's choosing those type of men. So, I mean, maybe that's a segue to another question. Like, do you think that the type of men that she, doesn't matter what kind of man she's choosing? Like, are y'all paying attention to that? Like, to me, I think that there is something there.
I think Future and Michael B. Jordan are two different people. So I think she's going with what she thinks she like, because she was a regular female before Meek Mill even mentioned her in the song. And I think that's what everybody is forgetting. Like, nobody even knew Nobody knew of a Lori Harvey before Meek Mill put her on his wish list. And then now it's, let me go figure out who Lori Harvey is. Oh, now she messing with Diddy. She messing with Diddy's son. She messing with Future. She messing with Michael B. Jordan, and whoever in between. I think it's just kind of like, I mean, she young. So it's kind of, do your thing, baby girl. Live your life, make your money, and you will go. And we don't have the luxuries that she and they have. Like, we can't just wake up and fly to Bali and get the roses and this and this and that. So I can't really even comment on that, because I don't have those luxuries. If I was in that position and I had Lori Harvey knocking at my door, bro, this is my girl. I don't care. I'm a spoiler, woody whoop, woody whoop. But I just feel like she could do what she wants to do. And the same thing for women that don't have that, leisure. Like, y'all can do what y'all want to do. And words are just words. We learned at an early age that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt. Social media will flip everything around. Words matter the most. It don't matter what somebody's doing for you. It matters what they say. And that'll take you back to Malcom and Marie. If I don't say thank you at this point, whatever I've done or whatever we've encountered in the past, it doesn't matter anymore, because I didn't say thank you on that stage. And that's where the argument started in Malcom and Marie. It may have been building up from other stuff, but sticks and stones. Let's get back to sticks and stones hurting, not words.
He didn't post it.
Because that's what the world is about.
But words do hurt.
Back to your point, you said, does it have something to do with the men she's choosing? Is she choosing them, or are they choosing her? Because if you go back to Meek Mill putting her on his wish list, is it a thing that she's trying to do, or is it them that's like, oh, I got to get Lori, I got to get her next, oh, are they in the line and she's just going for what she knows? Like,
she was chilling. She definitely was chilling before that bar was put out.
That's what I'm saying.
And we knew
them, or
about her dating
her, and she's like, I'm gonna give you the time. All right, you next. All right, let me see what I can get from you here. Or
so do y'all think Meek Mill was the good guy that finished last? Because he was the first one that brought it up. And
well, he definitely not. He ain't hanging on strong. He done lost Nikki, and then he done lost Lori, and then so you
don't ever want to be placed on Meek Mill's wish list, is what you're saying?
I mean, the boy don't miss. He did y'all like find Lil Uzi. We see what happened with Lil Uzi. I mean,
that's men. We talking about women.
I'm just saying he might be ahead of the curve with his judgment. Oh, okay. His judgment might just be ahead of the curve, because he introduced the world to Lil Uzi, and he doesn't cash in on anything from Lil Uzi. He introduced the world to Lori Harvey, and he ain't reaping no benefits from everybody that's dating Lori Harvey.
So the lesson of the day, y'all, is sliding Meek Mill's DM. He gonna be the one to put you in. He gonna put you on. That just went left. He gonna be the one. But no, okay, so I agree with all of y'all what y'all saying, and I do think that if I could, I'm going to start taking some lessons from Lori Harvey, because I think as women we should be able to date. Like, I think that she's not doing anything wrong. I do think that she should be able to, like Jay said before, as women we do put our eggs in one basket, whereas And I think we do that so prematurely because if we're not married to them, like I shouldn't be, not to say I shouldn't be committed to you. Like, yeah, if we have an understanding, but at this point, everybody is a candidate. And like, if you follow on Latrice and you try and come this way, everybody's a candidate at this point because I have to realize even though I now know what I want and what I don't want, but now because I know what I want, there are a lot of men that I'm not going to just think that one man can make me happy right away. Like there are other men out here that can, let me see what's out here, and then I also got to realize that right now I'm dating on the level that I'm currently at, but I'm not going to always be on this level. So it's still some men out there on my next level that I ain't even meet yet, so before I tie somebody down, let me go see what else is out there too. So I do think that Lori Harvey, Brian, like you said, Brian, before when she was the normal girl, she might have been dating men on her level where people didn't know her. But now because, she kind of got some more notoriety, now she was never she wasn't broke. I mean, of course, she's Steve Harvey's stepdaughter, she got some, some pull, but I think now she's starting to date on a new level. And I'm not mad at her for wanting to kind of explore because Michael B. Jordan is a great choice. He's a great option. So,
why are you saying that because he's a great person?
Because he's fine, and because he got it's like nah, but no, he is fine, and he's a great. What I like about him is his discipline. Okay. And I think it's because we got to get past just the exterior. I don't know him as he could be a jerk, right? But I do think that he has great discipline when it comes to his roles. I can see his work ethic. That matters to me. Like I do like, because I don't want a man that's lazy. I want a man that's ambitious. He's driven. And it shows me that he's an adventurous type of explorative person because he goes after different type of roles. So that shows me something about how the way his brain works. And I also like how he's not afraid to show his woman off on social media. He's not hiding her. He's like, I'm proud of my relationship. I don't care what people have to say. So that also shows me something about his character too, that he's willing to, Boosie want to call him a simp, but I'm like, I think that he's willing to defend her. He know what he's signing up for. He's chosen her. So I think that when I look at him, like I said, I mean, of course, there's more layers to him. I don't know him, but I think that from what it looks like, she looks happy.
And he's not in the media in a negative way. At least I haven't noticed that. Maybe he has, but he's not really in the media. Yeah. What did you say?
I said there's no scandal about him.
Yeah. So he has no negative connotation tied to his name. So I think out of all of the men that she chose or who chose her, I think right now he is the best fit. And I do see, I don't want to speak prematurely, but I think they're into each other. I think that there could be a future with these two. That's just my opinion.
No pun intended.
And he don't got no kids. So that's even, she don't gotta wait on babysitter time. She can go and explore and do what she want to do, with her man, and she can go and have fun. Like, she don't got no baggage. Future got all these baby mamas and all of that. I think for her, she is, she's just having fun and she's exploring. So to go into it a little bit more, Boosie had a lot of words about Lori Harvey. And so I know we all looked at, his commentary regarding her. So what do you guys think? Like, do you agree with what Boosie was saying? I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but do you agree? And do you think that men should be able to this is definitely for Mel and Jay, do you think that men should be able to put their mouth on what women do in their actions?
Boosie can't put his mouth to nothing. That's my opinion, and that's all I have to say.
I'm gonna have to.
But I think it goes with, they have their opinion, but does it hold value? Does his opinion hold value? That's something else that we need to talk about, because back to our conversation earlier, there is a different understanding. Like, a man doesn't understand a woman and the woman doesn't understand a man. To him, it looks like she's out here. I don't want to say the word because we're on here, but to him, her intentions look ill. But to her, it's like, I'm just out here dating. Like, I'm a single young woman, and this is how I choose to do it.
Okay. Yes, like Jay said, he and everyone else is entitled to his opinion. But my thing is this: when you have gone on social media to brag that you allowed a grown woman to initiate on your underage son, and this is a grown woman dating whomever she chooses, I really don't think that you have a leg to stand on with your opinion, even though you're entitled to have one. This is just one that you should have, how New York say, you should have just sat there and ate your food. Like, this was not a conversation for you to begin, because you got your own situation that you could be locked up for. You could get somebody else locked up for because of what you allowed a grown woman to do to your underage son. So let's talk about that. I mean, not in this conversation, but I'm saying, like, you get a handle on that instead of worrying about what this grown woman is doing. You know, she's living her life, minding her business, and that's it.
And that's why I say he can't put his lips on nothing.
Yeah. And but since you had mentioned something earlier about him calling Michael B. Jordan a simp, and I don't see too many people calling him a simp as much as I do like Russell Wilson, and they both seem to be very, very affectionate men. Why does Russell get all the heat and Michael B. Jordan doesn't? Is it because of the way that the different women look, their past, their age? I'm really confused. What is wrong with one man
It's the
love?
I was just getting a phone call. My bad. It's just the fact that it's. Oh my goodness.
You're not disturbed.
If she called again, I might have to take it. But I was just saying, it's just the just men don't comment on other men, especially negatively, because we understand what it takes to be a man. So the people that are saying these things about Russell Wilson, they may not be fully developed into a man yet. Russell Wilson is a stand-up guy. He takes care of his responsibility. He takes care of his wife. He takes care of her kids too. That's what a man is supposed to do, accept the woman and what comes with her, until she starts to like be ridiculous, of course. But I mean, he's a man, so it's just a struggle in the world of African American, the conglomerate, because I don't hear that coming from any other race saying, "Oh, Russell Wilson is this, Russell Wilson is trash." It's just always us building the issues with us. Can we just stop that and just love each other and not speak on each other's wrongdoings because somebody else already looks at us as a wrongdoing? Man. So let's just go ahead and be wrong in peace amongst each other.
That's a fact.
That's just how I see it.
Trying to get on here and trying to act like
I'm just saying, like, I'm just because I be on
don't
Clubhouse.
Don't be trying to sound like Lil Saint.
No, I'm just saying, like, I be on Clubhouse and I just always see the rooms like, well, black men can't live without black women. But then a black man says, yeah, we can. You know what I'm saying? It may not be pleasurable. And then one be like, well, who do you think you are? You can run around here without a black queen in your corner. Bro, we've been living without women. Bro, my mother lives in North Carolina. Like, you know, so I could call and talk to her. But I mean, I could live without a woman. It's not something that we need. We love to have you guys around. But I feel like y'all just want to beat down the door so hard that y'all need to be wanted, or y'all want to be wanted or needed so much that it kind of throws a narrative like y'all don't think black men love y'all. And that's not the real deal, Holyfield. Y'all just need to pick the men better.
Now that
stay out them rooms, man.
That changes the discussion now, because now that's a whole different thing you just said. But but I think that, because you could say, okay, well, men are not speaking on men issues, but I'm seeing men that are fathers, that are husbands on Facebook minding Russell Wilson's business, and so that I would probably consider to be a man. You know, I mean, people could probably consider, because I think the issue is, some men may have issue with another man raising another man's child. And so I guess for them, it hits personal in their household, where I'm not gonna let no other man raise my child. But it's like, why we got more conversation around Russell Wilson than we do about Future and not being a father and raising his child. Another man wouldn't have to raise your child if you was doing what you should do as a man. But people are not holding him accountable, and he's not going to be held accountable because he's still praised. People are still buying Future's music and streaming and going to the concerts and all of that. So it's not hitting his pockets or anything like that. And not to say, I mean, that's a personal, we don't have to be personal with Future in that way, but it's just one of those things where it's like, because Future has a lot of male friends in the celebrity world. why ain't nobody calling him out about, bro, did you check on your child, or what are you doing? You out here. So I don't see, and maybe they are behind the scenes, maybe they are in their private group discussions or whatever, but from a public perspective, I see more males out here talking about Russell Wilson and now Michael B. Jordan, because they are loving on their women and they are doing what they are supposed to do within their home and their house, and they're defending and protecting their situation. I don't think that makes them a simp at all.
So what that situation is coming from what Brian said, where they're not a man's man. You got to look at it like this. Most men are looking at what Russell and Michael B. Jordan are doing as responsible. And it's easier to live like Future than to live like Russell and Michael B. Jordan. Because it's easy for me to go to the club and turn up every night and smoke hookah and do all that, than actually be with one woman and make her feel happy, make my life look complete. You get what I'm saying? So that's why they speak on it so easy. Because it's like I can easily be Future tomorrow. Minus the money, but I can easily be the turn up guy. But to be the loving, caring guy to the world, aka, or as Boosie would say, a simp, it's difficult.
And do you think that affects our relationships now because we have a lack of representatives of Russell and what's his name? Yeah. And so we have more Futures. Like, do you think that has an impact on why our relationships are failing? Because it's easier, like we said, it's easier to be a Future than it is.
I think it's a mixture too, because to females, it's easier to be a Ari and a JT than it is to be a Sierra or freaking Jennifer Lopez. Like,
not all like that. I mean,
that's exactly what the men try to say to the women, but it's kind of like, we ain't trying to hear that. Oh, y'all is just trash, and we get beat.
But are y'all? But my question is, now, are y'all holding y'all Futures and y'all all of them? Are y'all, as men, y'all being men, are y'all holding them accountable? Because y'all do have them in your male friendship group. So are you holding these men accountable to help build your men up? Because I mean, that's my question.
In my tight circle, yes, I do. Yes.
I don't have no kids. I speak power into my kings, and I tell them if they wrong, but I'm not about to sit here and say, bro, I can't be your homie because you cheating a woman this way. All right, cool. I'm out your business at that point. I can try my hand and help you out, but bro, I don't have any kids.
But it's not even about the woman. It's about the child. He's not even taking care of his kids. So would you befriend a man that's not taking? Because I mean, to me, it's like, course. Do we respect? Like, can you respect your male friend if he's not taking care of his child? Like,
and that's one of the things that me and my homies brag about, is that all of us aren't deadbeats. Like, we can't look in nobody in the group chat that has a kid, nobody's a deadbeat. Even if the situation is messed up with the mom, they still there for their kid. Like, they'll fight for their kid. They'll fight to get custody of their kid. So when it comes to a guy like Future, if there was a Future in our group, he would be outnumbered. We'd be like, look, bro, you got to do something right here. Like, it's not all her all the time.
And then we have to realize, like, how much time does Future really get to spend with his child if Sierra has this happy home? And I've seen Future with that son before, recently. So it's not that he doesn't see his child, but it's like, I mean, if Sierra wants to have the child majority of the time, and let's say Future is reaching out to get the kid and he's not, and she's not being receptive or responsive to him wanting to have the kid, we don't know that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Future has his kids. Like, I'm sure he takes care of his children. Like, he's not no run-of-the-mill broke man running around here with no money. Whether he's sending money or he's taking, I mean, that child is well taken care of by both sides, because he's not posting the pictures. He's not doing the dance videos. He doesn't seem like he's having the most fun with the kid. We paint this picture that he's not taking care of the child. He don't care about the child. I feel like that's kind of, I don't know. I just think I've seen him with that kid and he cares about that child. It's his son. It's his seed. I'm pretty much sure he cares about that kid.
My problem with him is he's recklessly creating single parent homes. Use some protection or something, go get fixed something, because every time we turn around, you got somebody new. And I'm sorry, Latrice, if this is too much, but I'm saying, like, you're recklessly creating all these single parent homes.
Have real conversation.
And then you're mad because a stand-up guy is coming in and taking care of where you're slacking. Like, If it was a priority of you to get your child,
you would have your child.
Exactly. And if you were a stand-up man, you will be respecting him for your son having to have someone who is responsible. He's a great man. Like, this is who my son has to look up to, me and him. Like, I would be so grateful for that if I didn't have the means to be in the home. No?
No, the only reason I shook my head to that
Go ahead,
is because Future's looking at it like I lost the love of my life to a better guy. So he's still heartbroken. It's nothing to do with
Why didn't you what was right then?
It happens.
Already old as a mug, he can't change. He already old as a mug. Think about it. He already done been through 4 women since Sierra. And Sierra left Future and went to Russell Wilson and had a baby.
Okay, so let's tap into that. What do you mean he can't?
Hold on, guys, one at a time.
I just explain that for me, because what do you mean you can't change? Like, he doesn't have the ability to change. If I see that she's the woman of my life and I don't want to lose her, I'm gonna try my hardest. Like, you know what I mean? But that's me, and that's a woman's perspective. And I'm probably
that change for him may not be his happy space. So instead of him sacrificing his happy space, he'll just be like, look, I may have to just let it go, because if she want me to do this, that, I'm not even being myself anymore. It just gotta go. And that just comes with heartbreak. Like, you can't change yourself to be uncomfortable to make somebody else comfortable and happy. If at the end of the day you're going to be uncomfortable, then the whole relationship is going to be a fluke. That's not pride. That's just, I think it is pride happiness.
Because I get that. I understand that he got to be real and true to himself. Like, okay, he's not there yet, but then we can't have a conversation about him being heartbroken because he lost the love of his life. No, he chose to lose the love of his life. Like, that was his choice. And if he wanted, but that was pride, because if he wanted to be there, he would have done what he needed to do to secure his home and to secure the relationship with her. So he chose. So that to me was a prideful act, because now he like, whatever, he ain't even, I think he's taking his hurt out even on the relationship with the son. Like, he's not as present. He is kind of like, well, then fine, I'm gonna let them do they big happy family. I'm gonna let them do whatever, where it's like, no, like, why don't you just take some accountability? And yeah, this relationship didn't work with her, but then I need to see you, because it's not about just posting pictures or whatever. Like, maybe he don't post pictures with his son or whatever, or he provides, but that for a children still need nurture. It's not about you, it's about you coming over their house and logging me in on Zoom for my class today. It ain't about because daddy bought me an outfit and some Jordans and now I look cool. It's not about that. Like, for kids, that's not enough. And then when they get older, then because most kids, as they get older, they begin to resent their father because they have now more understanding. Like, when the child is young, they're going to always look at daddy as the superhero. But then when they get older and they have more understanding about, I don't need to just buy clothes. Like, I don't want just daddy to come buy clothes. Like, can I talk to daddy on the phone? Like, can daddy come here and, show up for my birthday and book and not show up for it, like, book his schedule, even though he got a tour around my birthday, like, I cannot be a priority. I mean, I understand that in that light, they're going to have to make sacrifices, but I still think that it's just, to me, not enough, because I think from what I can see, we see Russell Wilson really being active raising that child.
And if you can't get right, bruh, let her go and get right in peace. That's all it is. You can't get right for me, let me go in peace.
That's kind of what he did, though. And we also, that's what gets crazy about these celebrities and their relationships playing out on social media, is we really don't know the fine details of everything. Who's to say Baby Future didn't go to his mother and be like, I love it here. I'm cool with y'all. Like, I don't really need to see my father. Like, kids get to a certain point where they see what's going on and they make the decision for you.
That's true, because money, like you said, that buying stuff is only going to get you but so far. Like, as the kids get older, they do become more aware.
What age is awareness, though? Because I feel like the awareness age isn't until like the early teens. Like, we can't put,
I think it depends. I can just say I have seen instances where the dad may not be as present and a young child feels the absence and maybe kind of shows favoritism towards one parent. So it doesn't always, I don't think it necessarily comes with a certain age. Now, I have heard that, though, Brian, that usually when kids, I think especially boys, get to be around that age, when they do, kind of, I guess, tap into that emotion of my dad wasn't there or my dad disrespected my mom, then yeah, and they're able to really vocalize, I don't like how you treated my mom, or I don't like how you were there for me. So I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm just saying that as kids get older and they, develop a sense of awareness, that a lot of times that absence, it'll definitely, it has consequences, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't agree with, I believe that, the child's opinion matters to a certain point, but I also believe that if there's no harm to the child, this is your parent. Like I understand how you feel. And if there's no harm to you, it's your parent, because I wouldn't want my child, like if say my child was closer to their father, I would feel some type of way if they didn't, if the father was like, okay, well, the child feels like this and you can't see them. So I feel like, the child's awareness is a factor, but as long as they're not getting harmed and they're being taken care of, I feel like how much does that, should we really put that into play? Or is my perspective wrong?
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because I think you have to teach your children. Kids are very impressionable. So yeah, like Melanie said, if a child is absent from a particular parent for amount of time, even if it's just like a couple of weeks or something, say daddy's on the road because of his job or whatever, the child is going to naturally become more comfortable with mommy or whoever, because it's a thing called separation anxiety. You're just going to want to be with the parent that you're with naturally all the time. And so kind of like daycare, when the child first goes to daycare a couple of times, they're not going to want to be away from the parent because it feels new. It's uncomfortable, but you have to teach your child, like, no, I got to break you free. I got to let you see that you it's okay to be over here. It's safe to be over here. And so with that situation, yeah, if baby Future might have been like, well, no, I want to be here all the time. It's fine. I like being over here. I'm better here. Sierra has to be able to, and maybe she has, I don't know. But as a parent, you have to be able to show your child, like, no, you're going to have to go with daddy this weekend. It's okay. Like daddy, you're going to have fun with daddy too, because as they get older, they'll then understand, like, they can't say I didn't have a relationship with my dad and my dad was absent or whatever, because that becomes a conversation later on where men may feel like, well, she kept me from my child and she didn't let me see or whatever. So I think that equally, it has to be some understanding. Good co-parenting helps a lot. Like healthy co-parenting helps a lot. But then you also have to know that, in some instances, like Jay said, from the child's opinion, I'm gonna have to teach you something opposite, because just because you want dessert before dinner, that doesn't mean that that's healthy for you. I'm gonna have to show you that, no, you gotta have your dinner first, and then you can have this ice cream, and then you gotta brush your teeth right afterwards, right? So I think that's how we help with the developmental stage in their mind. And then it makes the awareness when they do hit adolescence, because you don't have to be an adolescent to be awareness. As children are very observant, that they are recorders, they are voice recorders, they see everything, they know whatever. So children are a lot more smarter than we, think at a younger age. So as they get older, all we see as they get older is the manifestation of what they saw as a child. Now the awareness is now being acted out. It's being good or bad, and so it's just, I think for me, and I don't have kids, but this is what I have just, observed with children and, me seeing things
you
in
hitting
my personal
on.
life.
That's spot on. As a parent, you definitely hit that spot on.
That's true. But one thing that I do want to note, because Jay asked, was her opinion or her perspective wrong? And no, it isn't at all. But I think one thing that you really never ever know what is going on in the other house, because while co-parenting is ideal, it's not always done. It's not always accomplished. And both parents have to be willing, regardless of how they feel about each other or how the relationship ended, both parents have to be willing to co-parent. You're not always going to see eye to eye, but you both have to be willing to compromise in some way and, have some give and take. And if one person is not doing that because they feel some type of way about you, that is going to harm the child, and maybe not physically, because of course, like if one physical harm or one act of physical harm to the child, it's a wrap from there, and you never get a second chance from that.
Yeah.
But there is such a thing as emotional neglect, which does happen sometimes. Or if, like, I know for me, when I take my son to the pediatrician for a simple checkup, they ask a list of questions about things that go on in the household, just simple everyday things, just to gauge is everything well, in the household. And when you are living in two different households, one parent may have a certain set of rules. The other parent, who may want to be the fun parent, may not have a list of rules, so things are a bit more lax. And while that may be fun, than the other house, is it really the best environment? And so I don't I know we kind of took the long way around this, but I think if it appears as though the only thing that Future may be offering is just giving money and you spend time occasionally, that's all fine and good, because yes, it does. Kids are expensive, but at the same time, are you providing a good atmosphere? Are you nurturing? Are you really giving him a good example of how to be and how to act, how to respond when you don't get your way? And if you're seeing that there's too much of a disconnect between both households, then maybe you do have to consider limiting the time that your child spends at the other household, because it's like, hold up, I got to reprogram him or her every time he or she comes back. Whereas over here, in a two-parent home, even though the father may not be the biological father, if it's providing a more stable environment, then I'm never an advocate for a mother keeping her son or daughter away from the father just because. But it's like, if you're giving me a reason to believe that my child may not be in the best environment over here, I'm gonna have to look into it. And you may be angry at me, but I'm not thinking about you. I'm thinking about this child. And for right now, it may just be best for the child to stay over here. But with that said, like we all have said, I do not think that that makes Russell Wilson a simp to pretty much step in where Mr. Future has lacked or is lacking.
I agree. And so since we've talked about like dating styles and even talked about as far as being equally yoked and dating your personality type or whatever the case may be, we saw that recently this past week, B Simone, she had released a video about your list and how women can manifest the man that they want. Like, okay, it's a lot of single women out here believing for a man. So B Simone is like, sis, let me tell you, this is how you manifest him, and these are the lists. And then when you write your list down of what you want your man to be, then next to it, write out the list that you need to be as a woman to match that. And she's just pretty much just saying law of attraction. Well, we saw that she's been ate up in the comments because people are like, her again? Didn't she just talk about the 9 to 5 man and then the CEO man and all of that? And so, and then, people are still kind of not taking her word, with seeing her as a credible source because of the whole book situation and the manifestation of, her saying that she manifested her book. And then we found out that really the book was plagiarized. So what do you guys think about B Simone's statements and what we seeing in, all of the comments and people, eating her up and people saying stuff? Like, what are y'all thoughts? Do you agree?
It sucks that oh no, I'm gonna let you go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
I was like, it sucks when someone actually has a point, but they've done so much annoying stuff that you just be like, I don't even care what you guys say right now. And that's the point she's gotten to. Like, I watched the video and everything she said was correct. Like, if you don't have your life together, how can you want somebody that already has their life together? Y'all two just not gonna mesh. It's not gonna mesh. But it sucks that she falls on that list of, I think it's T.I., Meek Mill, Kevin Hart at this point, that when they just, and Boosie, that now when they say anything, you just like, again.
Yeah, because when I hear her voice, I be like, sis, like, I don't have a high tolerance for her delivery, although what she was saying was true. And I also think that whenever you have that tied to your name, whether it be cheating, whether it be anything that's tied to your name. So for her, it's like she plagiarized that whole book. So it's automatically going to be like, well, did you come up with this? Or did you see somebody else's TikTok and just put your own words into it? And I think that's where the whole she stole my stuff came in, because it's like, sis, you known for this, and why you come out with your own little list or whatever, what have you? Because I know for myself, before I saw hers, I did see other people talk about that on TikTok. So it's just like, she stole my idea, or why didn't she come up with this sooner? So, but I do believe that she had a point. However, I think her name is just tied again to a negative force. So it's automatically going to be like, sis, this wasn't yours. But what she was saying, everybody says, if you don't have it, why are you expecting it from somebody else? I mean, it's common sense. However, I think just because her name is tied to her already plagiarizing somebody's book and stealing their ideas, it's already going to be hard for us to receive. And on top of that, annoying voice. That's all I got to say.
Yes, because when Latrice first sent us the clip, I don't even think I was 5 seconds in, and I went back to our text group and I was like, I'm annoyed with her already. Like, I couldn't even get through the first 5 seconds without rolling my eyes. But like Jay said, I don't disagree with what she said, because I do have a list of what I desire as well as what I desire to be. And not even that, what I know that I bring, what I know about myself that is desirable. And so I completely agree with wanting, what is it? Oh goodness, being what it is that you want to attract, to a certain degree, because, as men and women, we're still different, and I don't have the desire to be a man, or act as a man, so to speak. But I do agree that it is somewhat unrealistic for you to expect for someone to do all of these things while you do absolutely nothing. Now, for some people that works, some women want to be a kept women. They want to be sugar babies. That is not my ideal relationship. I definitely believe in give and take. And, like Latrice said, even speaking biblically, being equally yoked beyond just spirituality. But like Jay said, it's like right message, wrong messenger. Like, just like Jay said, you should have just sat this one out. And like you all said, other people have already said this is not new. Writing out lists is not new. She didn't say anything innovative. She just said, I'm sure, what she's heard. And obviously she has a platform so where people will hear her. But I don't think people are actually going to listen to her because of the reputation that she's built for herself for biting off of what people have already put out there.
B, you got a comment?
I just say, my thing is that women know what value they bring, or if they don't know what value they bring, they should figure it out, because that's going to give you the wherewithal to pick, hey, I want this type of man. Or like even what we said earlier, like right now, I'm not interested in serious dating, because I know that where I'll be in the next 3 years, I'll be at a different level in my life, and I'll expect different things from the person that I want to be with. So I would want to find somebody that is there when I get there, because I wouldn't want to have to cheat or leave the person that I've built all of this stuff with because she isn't able to understand. So I just think if you want a certain type of person, then you should want that for yourself as well. I agree with what she was saying. If she stole it or not, she said it is the fact. The fact is the fact. Let's not take away from what she said because she may have stole it from somewhere else. It's the truth. Whoever was saying it before her wasn't as popping, so they don't matter, which is unfortunate. But what she said was the truth, and it's facts. And again, we find a way to tear down another Black woman because that's what we like to do.
And my thing is, I feel like B. Simone never said that this was her original thought. Like, she never said that she was the one who created this. She's just coming out speaking as all speakers do. We share things that, whether we have experiences from, whether we've received revelation and wisdom from, and we may pull some things from other people. Like, we may quote things from other people. So for me, hearing her, it was more so, I was hearing it as confirmation, more so oh my God, she just gave me a revelation about, no, like it's confirmation. I've heard this before. So, okay, cool. Like, let me go. You right, sis. Let me have my list of my man and let me make sure that I have things on my list. And I may not have everything on my list, but let me have as much, let me try to work on myself to make sure that I also have something that I can bring valuable to the relationship too. But I think the issue that people was having with her is because I had seen some people say, well, who is B Simone to be saying to talk about manifestation, anything when her boyfriend just is hot off the press? Like, girl, how long you been in this relationship? So how do we even know that this man is even, the man that you need to be telling us that we should be getting? Like your relationship may not work. So who are you to even say anything? And I saw some people say that about it. And I'm like, well, that's true too. Like maybe because I think people really praise Sierra and Russell because we see his actions. We see some fruit behind the relationship. Whereas people didn't know that about Russell Wilson. We only saw him as like a quarterback and, one of the top quarterbacks. But then once you actually start to see how he acted in this relationship and in his marriage, it's like, oh, okay, now I have some more understanding. So I think for her, it's just kind of like, well, maybe what you're saying may be more valid for people where people can receive it when they can see the what has really occurred in your relationship, that this relationship is even sustainable. Because again, you're still getting to know somebody, to me, within the first year. So if this is a new relationship for you, this may not work. So then you got manifest somebody all over again. Like it's one of those things. And I want to say this because I'm tired of people, it's this manifestation word, and I know that we are in this new age era or whatever where people are doing a lot of different stuff. However, because people view manifestation in different ways, and I think that manifestation to me is a biblical principle first. So I don't equate it to what the universe is doing and the chakras and the crystals and the signs and all that other stuff, because people are like, well, it's an issue because they have a problem with her saying manifestation. Manifestation is a real thing. You can manifest the life that you want to live by speaking it. Like it's power in our words. So when we confess that we want to receive certain, like say, okay, I'm believing and I'm confessing that I'm going to pay my debt off this year. As it's power with me saying that. I may not see the manifestation of that right now, but because I've been speaking it, now me continuing to speak it with repetition, it's going to start trickling in my believer, like in my belief system. I'm going to start believing that, okay, now I can really make this thing happen where I pay off my debt. And then at the end of the year, I've manifested it. So I do think it's a principle and that the world has taken. And this is where we talk about the faith and culture thing. For me, because this is a faith-based podcast, I equate everything back to Bible, to the word. And I do believe that you can manifest the man or the woman that you are believing to be with by you because you are setting intention for yourself. You're setting intention by writing a list. That's what she's pretty much trying to say. When you write the list, now you're creating intention behind it. You're having a vision for what you want your relationship to be like. Because if you don't write it and you make it plain, there's no vision, there's nothing to hold yourself to. So that's when you compromise in your dating and you compromise in your relationship, because this person, because it's not, to me, I think the list is not about exterior things. It's not about how fine he is, how tall he is, how built he is, or whatever. It's, to me, it should, on your list, you should have some characteristics, some qualities on there. Like, is he respectful to what's his relationship with his mother? Like, is he a family man? Like, does he believe in God? Like, does he have integrity? Does she have integrity? Does she know how to, show love? Like, all these type of things. I think that those things should be on the list. But when we go out and date, if we meet people that don't match what's that, then I don't need to pursue this, because you don't match what is my standard. And I think that's what she's trying to say. Well, that's what she was trying to say. But again, it was the messenger, as well as the tone probably behind it. I think people didn't like her tone. Because one of the things, and this is something that I want to say, this is something that has been, I said it earlier about, I'm really tired of people trying to tell women what they should be doing. Like, now granted, I think that is necessary to give wisdom and give advice, but I see it because I see a lot of like women bashing lately, and I'm like, where is this? Why is this? Where is this coming? And I'm seeing it more from the women. So I'm seeing women, and this is my I think women. I'm seeing some women on social media coming out making videos about even some of the people that said today that B Simone stole from them. I feel like y'all doing that for clout, like, because are you a woman that's doing and matching and all that? So, but we can't see into your life. So it's making it. It just, for me, I'm it's not being received because people are being talked at, and it's kind of like, well, where, like I said, where, how can I see your life? Because B Simone putting the video out telling somebody what to do, but she don't even got no integrity, and then she don't really got no real business acumen, because how you ain't know your whole staff stole out of people's books and you created a whole book? So it's like, what? You're still developing too. So who are you to be telling somebody what they should and what they should not be doing? This is why you don't have no credibility, sis, because now people see the fruit and you don't even measure up. And so I think for me, it's a difference when you giving wisdom and you trying to give advice to people than you trying to tell people, no, this is the blueprint and this is the plan. And we can't see that happening in your life. So I know I said a lot. If y'all have something.
And I just wanted to piggyback off of something that you mentioned, and you hit the nail on the head. It was the tone. And that's why I was very adamant when I said wrong, wrong, wrong person, because that tone was very condescending. It wasn't, sis, let me help you out. It was, this is what you need to do. And I have the same issue with her in that video as I did with, I don't know if any of you all saw the Kevin Samuel. I think that's the guy's name.
Girl, don't get me started on Kevin Samuels.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
Even though
that is a whole nother part.
girl,
He
I know, but I'm just saying, like, even though now I was not familiar with him until I saw the clip circulating about the one young lady that she called in, and the things that he was telling her. The actual message, I guess, was not necessarily wrong, but he's like literally picking her apart as she's calling in for advice, saying things like, how do you rate yourself? Bashing the fact that she, I think, was like in her mid 30s with a child of a certain age, saying you're average at best. I think he gave her like a 5. You don't qualify. Words like that. So it was mentioned earlier that words don't hurt. Well, yes, they do, because telling somebody that they don't qualify for a good partner is very damaging. Now, granted, yes, you have to be able to bring something to the equation. However, for someone to be giving the message, people's self-esteem are already damaged because of a relationship that did not work out, somebody that was chosen over them, whatever. And so to be talked at, this is the reason why you don't have a partner. It's like, I'm not hearing you. I mean, I'm hearing you speak, but I can't even receive what you're telling me, because you're literally telling me how you are is not good enough. And then to add insult to injury, well, I think the lady said you've been with this man for like 11 seconds. Well, how do you know that this is your manifestation in the flesh? You don't know that yet. And so I just think that as a coach, as a counselor, as someone in a position of leadership, someone in a position to talk to the masses, be mindful of your message, yes, but also be mindful of your reputation and your speech. Because if you want people to hear you, now, if you're just saying stuff just because you think it's going to just have your video go viral, then be my guest. But if you are honestly interested in helping people, then you are going to have to change your delivery. And that goes for the both of them and anyone else that serves as a coach in any capacity. Be mindful of who you're talking to if you want people to receive it. And I'm even saying that as a life coach myself, but that's not somebody that I can look at to say, I'm going to model my coaching business after her. Like, she doesn't have anything to offer me. That's my 2 cents.
You think it's tough for her because she's also a comedian as well. So you think most of her delivery is coming from a standpoint of like stand up, where like you should get where I'm coming from.
I was
But
confused.
Yeah, I mean that was the, I believe that's the point of why she made the video that way. Because I had watched the full video, I didn't watch just the Shade Room clip. So even in the full video, she was a little bit more comedic, even about the birds coming at her and all of that stuff. So she was adding some comedy to it. However, though, I do think that you're still a whole person, so you don't have to be on all the time. Like, just if you're trying to talk to people and you're trying to persuade, you're just trying to give something, just talk. That's like LeBron. When he's done playing the game and he got to go up in front of ESPN at the end of the game, he has to report. He has to talk. Like, he can't still be on that mode. Like, he's not playing the game at this point. He has to now talk to the people. So I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, sis, be a human. Like how you had to come out and have a whole video and have a sorry message because people done called you out about plagiarizing. If you want to give, some wisdom to people in regard, because I think it would have been received better. But I think people have the issue because of the fact that other comedians out here on Instagram were also using the same tone and the same mannerisms and all of that. So it's like, oh, she's still in my, not just what she's saying, but she's still in my style. Like, she's still in how I'm doing it. And I think if she would have just said it as a regular sister, just talking to other women, I think it would have been a little better because I don't think it wasn't what she said. I think it was how all of the delivery and how she said it. Now, I do want to say that for people who feel like she's biting their style and all of that other stuff, I have a rebuttal to that because I feel like a lot of people have also stolen from B. Simone too, as far as their delivery, as far as their comedic and all of that, because people was not doing baby girl, baby boy, like people weren't doing that before her. And so now I'm seeing people doing all of that, even the person, and I'm not going to say the name, but even the person who was in the Shade Room comments and said that she stole from her. Like, no, sis, you really stole from, you just put the video out before B. Simone, but you did use her. That's how she talks. So when B. Simone does it, now it sounds like B. Simone is stealing, but B. Simone is being authentic to her comedic craft. She's always done that. She's always been silly and goofy when she's done that. So I think I also want to hold people accountable too that are out here as influencers. I have seen y'all stolen from B. Simone, and I see y'all still from Just Hilarious. When y'all trying to do the comedy stuff and all that, it's not rich. And I think it's just the generation today. People have to learn how to be, and I talked about this on my last episode about being authentic. When you are authentic, then people can receive better because they know you, they know your style. But when you out here trying to copy off the next man, then now you got too many carbon copies out here, so we don't even know message to send her. Just like Cardi's song, if it's up, then it's stuck. People coming at her because of that, and she's like, I ain't even know. But that's a whole, people saying that, everybody up north saying that. So how you don't know that, but it's one of those things where everybody's saying it. So is Cardi not allowed to say it when it's a normal saying? It's a normal saying. People are saying it. But I think it's an issue when it's the delivery, how it's coming off. It can seem like it's being stolen. And so I think that's the problem.
I mean, and it all ties back to, I think social media has made a lot of people narcissists in a way, because it's like, I did this first. And then in your bubble, of course you did it first, but that's your bubble. Everyone doesn't know you. So if it goes out, if another person does it, we all are human. So we all sometimes have the same thought / same mind frame with things. So your idea is just as great in your bubble, but another famous person can be like, oh, that's a great idea too. But they're famous and they did it. So you can get on the shit, you can get in the shade room and cry in the comments all day. But if I don't know who you are and I know B Simone, I'm like, what you talking about? She ain't still that. That's her thing. And also comment on what you said earlier. I think social media has done this too. It's made everyone feel like they're famous. Like we was talking about this on my podcast the other day about conversation qualifiers. Like some people shouldn't just be qualified to have a conversation with everyone. And what social media has done has made it that everyone feels like they qualify to have a conversation about something or someone or an issue. And it's like, no, sometimes you just gotta be quiet.
That's good. That's a good point. Brian or Jay, did y'all want to add anything? Well, y'all good?
No, I agree with everybody.
Okay, so this was a fun discussion, y'all. I appreciate y'all coming on and talking this through with me because this has been on my mind all week and I just been holding it in. So I've now been able to release it. So thank y'all for coming on. And before we close, does anybody want to do, well, I'm gonna just have all, do y'all want to give some closing remarks, some advice to the audience? It could be about anything. It could be about the discussion or whatever. Like, do you have any closing words that you want to say to the people?
Rule number one is to love yourself first. If you don't love yourself, don't expect nobody to love you. And then focus on yourself too. If something is bothering you, shun it out. You have the power to swipe that screen up and then swipe it up again and cut that phone off. The same thing with the people. So just let it go if it isn't in your best interest. Don't try to figure it out, because if you need to figure it out, find something that you don't have to figure out. That is, it's right there. Some stuff come black and white and you don't even have to like adjust to it. Like just roll with the stuff that roll with you. Don't let nobody get in your way, because these people right now are too annoying. Everybody's focused on the wrong stuff. Just focus on yourself, be successful, make your money, and be mentally happy. That's it. That's how you win.
I would say this is something that I applied to my life like 5 years ago, and I live by this AAA method that I started: acceptance, accountability, and affirmation. And when you go by those 3 words, there's nothing in life that can be like Teflon at this point. So just remember those. If you hold yourself accountable, if you accept the situations that you're in, and I know you know the prayer or the quote, the acceptance to accept the things that you can't change, and the power to, don't kill me on that one, everybody that's listening.
I mean, it's a quote. I mean, you have to just be able to accept the things that you can't control, but you can control what you have control what you can control, and you can't have the control over things that you cannot change. Like some things you're not going to be able to change, but control your space. You can control.
And the affirmation, just affirmations help with everything.
And I would just say, be intentional about your healing, and your journey is your journey. Your journey isn't going to look like anybody else's. So however long it takes you to become whole, heal, take that time so that you can really get to know and love yourself.
And I would say, and this is for me as well, that your worth does not lie in someone else's inability to see it. And speaking specifically from a relationship perspective, I guess a failed, quote unquote, failed relationship is not your last chance at happiness or romance, but certainly not happiness. And again, just don't measure your worth based on someone else's inability to see that.
And I'm going to say, you can always change your narrative. Where you are today, you don't have to compare it to your past. Like, yeah, those things may have happened in the past. Those things in the past may be true, may be valid, but stand on your present. When you operate in the present and you're intentional about your present, you can change the narrative, and you don't have to allow other people's pains, other people's traumas, other people's words, other people's experiences to now cloud what your present looks like. You can always, like Jay said, you can do your work, you can do your healing to work on yourself to become a better you, so that now you can manifest the future that God has for you to have, and you can be happy, you can be whole, you can be prosperous. So thank y'all so much for coming on. Before we close, I want y'all to just go around, give your social media handles real quick, let people know where they can follow you, your website, all that. So Mel, you can go first.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at godly_and_gracious. You can also go to my website, www.godlyandgracious.com, or on Facebook at godly_gracious, LLC.
And Melanie has a sale going on right now, guys. So go on her website and grab you some Godly and Gracious teas. When does your sale end, Mel?
So the sale ends at the end of the month. It is my launch sale in honor of launching my website. If you enter, and actually I think it might be defaulted, but the code is Stay Pretty 10, all one code, all one word, and it'll calculate 10% off your purchase. I don't know if you're going to show this, but
yes,
this is one of my shirts, the Stay Pretty Classic in the rose gold.
And she built her brand out of her pain. You know, her purpose came from that. So all her teas they have purposeful messages. So Tomo, next.
Again, you can find me on Twitter at MojoTimo, and you can find me on Instagram at NoIGTomo. Don't ask me why my name is NoIGTomo, but and also you can check out my podcast each and every Thursday. That's Next Level Convos. You can follow us at Next Level Convo on Instagram and Twitter.
And tell people how to spell Next Level.
Oh, you spell it, what is it? NEXXLVL. So
got you. Jay?
You can follow my personal page at sheisj.d.brown, I believe. That's on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm under J Brown, and my women empowerment group is She Is Me 2911 on Instagram.
Follow me at Low Daddy Raps, LODADDEEWRAPS. We do own a full on-vehicle customization shop, and no, we do not do discounts because we are having on this side, and it is always busy. So I love everyone, and I wish that we can do what we can do for your car, but please do not ask for a discount because at that point, I don't want to work on your car anymore. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in.
And they do wraps as well as tents. So I went and got my tents done there. They are awesome. They don't have you in the shop all day. So definitely go visit First Impressions. If you're located in the DMV area, you can go to his page. So I'm going to put all of y'all handles on in my show notes. So guys, if you weren't able to catch it when they said it, just go back to the show notes. And if you're watching it on YouTube or the clips, he's showing you some things of his car, like what the wraps look like. So they're very professional. So just check the show notes and you'll be able to get all the social media handles, the websites, the codes for the discounts and everything, the podcast links. So thank y'all for listening. I know this one was a long one, but I think that it kept you. So, thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all for coming, and I will remember to subscribe, remember to share, leave a review, like, and rate, because that helps me grow in the podcast chart. So continue to do that. So thank y'all, and I will see y'all next week.